In lieu of talking about exactly things that are on the schedule for this upcoming week in the climate and energy space, I want to direct your attention because Speaker Brian Egolf, Representative Melanie Stansberry, and Representative Angelica Rubio just dropped the hottest album of the 2021 legislative session. The bill is called House Bill 9. It is the Climate Resiliency Act, and it immediately becomes one of, if not the most influential climate and energy bills in the state legislature this year, and would certainly be some of the most impactful law in the books. What the bill does, a lot of what it does is effectively codifies things that are already happening as a result of the governor's executive order of 2019 around climate. In the 2019 executive order, the governor established a working council of just about every relevant agency in the state of New Mexico and said, you guys are going to get together and put together a plan for how we are going to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from the state of New Mexico, so everything in the state of New Mexico, by 50% below 2005 emissions levels by the year 2030, and be zeroed out, have no emissions by the year 2050. This is not for the electric sector. This is not like the ETA. This is for everything: oil and gas, transportation, agriculture, the whole shebang. That was in that 2019 executive order. This bill codifies that. So that would be the law of the land, that we must achieve these reductions as a state. Notably, and one of the really exciting things about it and unique things about it is the way that it incorporates requirements around community consultation, workforce transition, and community transition. So this is kind of in keeping with the theme that we saw begin in the Energy Transition Act, right? Where we're not just going to talk about climate in terms of the gas that we emit and dealing with climate change in terms of parts per million in the atmosphere. We're going to talk about dealing with climate change on the ground with people. And this is going to be a central part of this conversation at every single step. This bill puts that into law. It would be nation leading in that respect. And it's just kind of this, this is the kind of policy that keeps New Mexico right at the front of the pack and really driving this conversation about how do we manage our people and our emissions at the same time, because there's no way to separate the two, and we shouldn't try. It's a really exciting bill for that reason. The development for this behind the scenes involved a lot of sort of traditional climate advocates coming together with a lot of equity and community organizing advocates to come together and really figure out what must, how do we have to approach this problem. It's an exciting bill. It's going to be a lot of fun to work on. It's a House introduction, so we will see it go to House Energy first. I don't have an exact schedule on the date for that one yet, but that should be a fun one to track, and we'll certainly be working on that. That's not the only thing we got coming up this week, though, Greg. Great.
Right. So another wildlife bill to flag for our friends and members. Next week, Tuesday, February 2nd, in Senate Conservation, we have SB 32, the Wildlife Conservation and Public Safety Act, also known as Roxy's Law or the Trapping Act, sponsored by Roberto Gonzalez and Brenda McCann. SB 32, briefly, prohibits the use of traps, snares, and wildlife poisons on public land for purposes other than sanctioned research, state agency or department activities, administering of veterinary care, and preventing damage to crops, livestock, and property. To reiterate, this applies to public land only, defined in the bill to include lands owned, leased, or held in trust by the state, the federal government, or local governments, not Indian nation, tribes, or Pueblo lands or inside its structures. The bill provides for misdemeanor penalties for violations of the Wildlife Conservation and Public Safety Act. Earlier versions of this bill were supported by CDNM, and we will be providing testimony in support of SB 32 in Senate Conservation next week. If you feel strongly about this issue and would like to make your voice heard, public participation in the Senate side is a little different than the House side. If you want to provide testimony, you want to send an email for the agenda item only that you want to speak to, so that would be SB 32, to Senate Conservation, so that's SCONC@nmlegis.gov, with your name, the entity you are representing, if you are representing one, bill number, so 32 in this case, a clear for or against position by Monday at 3 p.m. You'll be contacted by the committee Zoom operator with virtual meeting instructions. So again, SB 32, Wildlife Conservation and Public Safety Act, big support from CVM.
That's going to be a great one to tune into. If you do want to tune in and watch that bill, I recommend that you block out that whole morning because it is going to be a big one. You're going to get a lot of testimony. We're going to have a lot of debate from the committee. That is going to be the showstopper in the New Mexico State Legislature on Tuesday morning. So I recommend tuning into that. It's such an important bill to get done this year. You know, Greg and I and all of us at CVM spend a lot of time thinking about and working on ways to diversify New Mexico's economy, so that we're not just an oil and gas petro state. And one of the best tools in the toolbox, and there need to be many, but one of the best ones is certainly outdoor recreation or outdoor recreation economy. You know, just in the last few months, we've had so many incidents of people out on public lands, enjoying public lands as their mental health escape from COVID-19 and being locked inside all day long with their dogs, and their dogs get caught in traps. This has happened over and over again. It happened last week, this beautiful German Shepherd in a snare trap. How can we say that we are going to be a great outdoor recreation destination, and this is a key tool that we are using to get ourselves off of oil and gas, and that this is a priority, and we can't even make our public lands safe for casual hikers and walkers to use without putting their animals' lives at risk? So this is something that I think we have got to get done this year, and it'll be a good debate on Tuesday morning. I recommend tuning in. If you have the ability to get in touch with a legislator, if you are in the district for one of the senators, state senators that sits on Senate Conservation, please reach out, give them a call, send them an email, send a carrier pigeon, do whatever you can. Get that message out there to them, because they need to hear from you what your priorities are on this bill. This is something we've got to get done. Got to get done. It's overdue. We're losing dogs in traps weekly. Too much.
So again,
Greg?
February 2nd, Tuesday morning, 9 a.m., Senate Conservation, nmlegis.gov. Click on webcast at the top menu. Click the relevant committee, and you'll be plugged in.
All right. Greg, we're through week 2. How are you feeling?
Feeling like it's been more than 2 weeks, but excited and ready to tackle the challenges next week.
Yeah, definitely feeling like I just went through a pretty heavy week, but feeling energized too, looking at all the good stuff that is moving. And it's just that I can't describe to you what a feeling it is to get your bill out of a committee, particularly a tough committee. It's just an awesome feeling to see priorities continue to move. And so thank you everybody out there for your support and all your help and calling your legislators and staying in touch. And we'll try to do our best to keep you informed and let you know where the leverage points are and where the inflection points are. With a little extra pressure, we'll continue to help. Stay tuned. This has been week 2. On we go. Have a great week, everyone.
Week 3.